Happy Independence Day! Given this special occasion, today's story is from history. It's about a teenage independence activist from Assam who gave up everything for her country. Welcome to Stories from India. This is a podcast that will take you on a journey through the rich mythology, folklore, and history of the Indian subcontinent. I am Narad Muni, the celestial storyteller and the original Time Lord. With my ability to travel through space and time, I can bring you fascinating stories from the past, the present, and the future. From the epic tales of the Mahabharata and Ramayana to the folk tales of the Panchatantra, to stories of Akbar Birbal and Tenali Raman, I have a story for every occasion. The purpose of the stories is neither to pass judgment nor to indoctrinate. My goal is only to share these stories with people who may not have heard them before, and to make them more entertaining for those who have. Now, I know I had said that we'd be covering the Panchatantra next. That plan is still on for this weekend. Because of this special occasion today, and because I had a specific request from one of you listeners, I decided to do a bonus episode. Thanks to Navya's recommendation, we are going to cover the story of Kanaklata Barua. So, you know how we cover myths, legends, folklore, and history on this show? Today's story is firmly in the history category. Kanaklata was a real historical person. Let's begin in Gopur, in Assam. The year was 1942, and it was mid-September. The exact location is a bit secret because we are going to cut the scene to a gathering of conspirators. This was the hideout of the Mrityu Bahini. Translated literally, it means death squad. The chief conspirator was Pushpalata Das. She was the one who had founded this group. Not surprising, she was rather well connected. Pushpalata knew Nehru's sister, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, and she also knew Mridula Sarabhai, another independence activist. And that was enough to make her a famous person automatically. But being politically well connected is by itself not enough to set up a death squad to overthrow the British Raj. Leadership skills are quite essential too. Right now, she was using those leadership skills to manage the questions from the crowd. Mahatma Gandhi launched the Quit India movement, one lady said. But what are we supposed to do exactly? Pushpalata replied, Well, it's not like I'm an expert or anything, but I've heard Gandhi himself talk about it, and have given the matter a lot of thought, so I can tell you the gist of it. Basically, Gandhi wants us to pack up the British Empire's bags and send them off. Does that mean we are starting a courier service? Asked one boy, innocently. A one-way trip, Pushpalata clarified. We are sending them home permanently. One teenager in the corner was a bit quiet. And what if they don't want to go? She asked. It was a great question, and it got to the heart of the problem. Gandhi's activism was centered around non-violence. But what were they supposed to do if the British simply refused? It was easy to imagine the reaction of a stereotypical officer in a crisply pressed uniform. He might give a stern look to the members of the Mrityu Bahini, and he might say, "No, thank you. You can unpack my bags and then tool down to the kitchen and cook dinner for 12. I'm expecting a few guests. Jolly good, what?" Pushpalata tried to explain that what Gandhi had in mind was civil disobedience. That meant peaceful protests. Not going to school, not paying taxes, not filing any lawsuits, not watching any movies. Which was great advice, except it wasn't very helpful. The teenager said that it didn't really mean much. She already wasn't paying any taxes. She was underage. She wasn't taking anyone to court. She certainly wasn't watching any movies. And she wasn't going to school either. That part was a bit concerning, given her age. Not the movie watching part. I meant the not going to school part. Pushpalata then remembered this girl. She was Kanaklata Barua. From previous meetings of the Mrityu Bahini, Pushpalata remembered her. She had seen something of herself in Kanaklata. When the founder of Mrityu Bahini had been younger, she herself had organized a protest when Bhagat Singh had been sentenced to hanging by the British. She had even gotten expelled from her school for doing that. That's not something to be proud of if you're Hermione Granger, but it was definitely a badge of honor if the school had a completely different opinion of who should be running the country. Pushpalata concluded the meeting with the motto that Gandhi had started: "Do or die." The meeting was over, but Kanaklata didn't stop thinking about Gandhi's motto. It was simple and straightforward. Those 3 words by themselves may be subject to misinterpretation, but in the context of the Quit India movement, it was perfectly clear what he had meant. So whether the officers of the British Raj threw a tantrum or not, they would be ejected from the country. And if they couldn't, Kanaklata was ready to die trying. She thought about what she could do, and then she hit on the answer. It was the flag. The flag at the police station was that of the British Raj, naturally. They controlled everything. Law enforcement was just one small but important part of that. Kanaklata was going to replace that flag, or die trying. The next morning, she sent off her siblings to school. It was her responsibility because she was the oldest sibling and they were all orphans. Now, you might think those were a lot of responsibilities on the shoulders of a 17-year-old girl. Taking care of all your siblings, plotting to overthrow the government, fighting for your country, leading a protest. She marched to the police station where other members of the Mrityu Bahini had gathered. They had a flag ready, of course, and a backup flag, just in case. And then they headed straight for the building. The police might have been surprised that a lot of citizens were coming in. The officer who was in charge, Rebati Mahansom, first asked one of the constables to go get extra FIR forms ready. Sounds like they had a major crime wave to deal with here. But his instinct proved wrong, because the Mrityu Bahini weren't trying to enter the police station. They were trying to climb it.
Ahoy there! I say, that's just not cricket.
The officer said. But the protesters continued, Kanaklata at the forefront.
You can't climb without a ladder, madam. It's against the law. You might break your neck.
He tried again. But no one paid him any attention. Then he saw the flag in Kanaklata's arms, and her intentions finally became clear. The officer took the drastic action of firing on the lead protester. Kanaklata was dead instantly. However, that didn't stop the protest. Another protester, Mukund Kakoti, took up the flag that Kanaklata had dropped. But then another shot rang out, and Mukund fell as well. This time, the protest did stop. That was it. Those protests might have ended unsuccessfully, but the news of Kanaklata and Mukund Kakoti's sacrifice spread. It enraged some and encouraged others. Kanaklata Barua is quite the legend in Assam, but unfortunately, she is not very well known outside of the state when compared to other independence activists. There are statues of Kanaklata in Assam. They are linked in the show notes. Check them out. Let's celebrate this day by remembering those who sacrificed their lives to win us this independence. Not just Kanaklata and Mukund Kakoti, but the countless others who lost everything so that we could experience a better country than they did. That's it for this time. In the next episode, we'll do the Panchatantra, as I'd mentioned last time. If you have any comments or suggestions, or if there are particular stories that you'd like to hear, please do let me know by leaving a comment or a review on the site sfipodcast.com, or tweet at sfipodcast, or reply to the questions on Spotify's Q&A. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to the show to get notified automatically of new episodes. A big thank you to each and every one of you for your continued support and your feedback. The music is from purpleplanet.com. That's purple-planet.com. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.